Join your host, Des Hamilton, to find out exactly how to say goodbye to being poor and hello to being rich.
Welcome back to the Goodbye Poor Hello Rich show with me, your man, Des Hamilton. So lovely to have you coming back time and time again. So lovely for anyone new that's jumping on. We are opening the doors to more and more people across the various platforms that this mug tends to show up on. And all I can say is thank you so much for anyone that's put their faith in me. Anyone that's looked at me and gone, that sounds like a normal guy. If he can do it, so can I. Because that's my whole gambit. That's what I want to do. I want to show people what's achievable. I want to show people what opportunities are out there on the internet that people of our generation particularly are completely unaware of. Our generation, they might not know how to use ChatGPT. They might not know about print on demand, Vinted. Well, they know about eBay. This is the crazy thing, right? People in my generation, they know lots and lots about eBay, but don't necessarily see that as an e-commerce model. You're buying and selling on the internet. That's all it takes. Opportunities are there. A second job for us these days doesn't have to be mowing the lawn. Anyway, this is what I do. I get on a soapbox and I'm in danger. Thank you to our sponsors, SellerAmp SaaS. For those on an Amazon journey, SellerAmp SaaS is hands down the best sourcing software on the market. You can go into any shop, you can go onto any website, and with SellerAmp SaaS either on your phone or as a Chrome extension, it can give you data that will significantly make your life easier when it comes to finding products that turn a profit on Amazon. Thank you for your support. I'm so grateful to have a powerhouse like that back in the show. And we'll get into this, but it blows my mind really to think of where I've come from, where I'm at a place now where someone as powerful as SellerAmp SaaS is supporting me. Thank you very much. Let's get into the show, shall we? It's been a little while. I think it was June the last time I did one of these. This is an Ask Me Anything. I put some posts out there on the socials and asked, right, what is it you want to know from me? Now, this is the first time I've done one since I've left my job. So it is a little spoiler. For the last 2 years, I've been very cautious of what I'm saying because I didn't want to be disrespectful to my job. Not that I'm willing to be disrespectful now. That's not the point. But the point was I was an employee. And of course, being an employee, whether you're at work or not, you've got a duty to uphold. You've got a reputation. There is risk. So I've always been a bit mindful. Did you notice that I've always said the government aren't coming to help you. But I've always refrained from going into detail about my actual opinion on politics, on life, on society, on psychology, physiology, lots of things. And it might surprise you to know, yes, I've got an opinion on most things. So let's get into an Ask Me Anything special. And let's see if you can figure out anything new about me or the way I do things that could resonate with you and hopefully relate to you. Let's get into them, shall we? Question number 1. Looking back, what sacrifices have you made for your entrepreneurial goals? And knowing what you know now, would you have done anything differently? It's a bit cheeky. That's 2 questions. Let's go to the first part, shall we? What sacrifices have you made for your entrepreneurial goals? It's funny, right? Because when you're going in it and when you're in the day-to-day, you're making small decisions. I purposely don't look too far in the distance because it can become overwhelming. If someone said to me, Des, you're going to start a podcast and in 18 months' time, you're going to be supported by SellerAmp SaaS and you're going to be charting in the entrepreneur category, beating people like Rob Moore and Simon Squibb. That would have blown my mind and I probably would have fallen over and I would have never have got going. The weight of expectation. Bit like when Bill and Ted find out that they're going to be rock stars from the future and they don't bother to learn the guitar. That's exactly where I'm at. But looking back, I've sacrificed nearly everything. Honestly. If you think about it, my time. What do you do with your time? Because for 2 years, I did nothing but work with my time. And that meant sacrificing time with the children with the view that in the long term, I'm going to spend more and more time with them. And that did come true. But for the first 2 years, no, I was working every night. Even on my days off, I was working because we were building something. And in entrepreneurial world, it's not about clocking off to spend time. It's about making the most of the opportunities you've got there and then. And we were seizing as many opportunities as we could. So I had to sacrifice my time. I didn't go out very often. I would go out to live music with my brother from time to time, but that was only a handful of times a year. Time with my parents. When you think about everything that you do with your time, yeah, I sacrificed all of that. Health, I would say. Nice meals, dinners, healthy cooking. And I know it's easy if you prep it and stuff like that, but I spent all my time on this. Convenience food became the way forward. And what does convenience food do? Bloody hell. It ruins your waistline. So if you go back to when I started, I've put on a bit of timber since then. It's no exaggeration to say that the person that I was has gone. You wouldn't define me as somebody that was hardworking. You wouldn't define me as someone that was driven, that someone that had infinite patience for the things that are coming down the track, for this confidence, for this manifestation mindset. I wasn't known for that. I was the guy floating along. I was the good time guy. I was the guy that could turn up at a party, because Des always turns up at a party, and Des always does this, this, and this. Des has always got a story. In 2 years now, my self-identity, internally and externally, has flipped 180. So I sacrificed that guy, and I like that guy. It just so happens I like this guy even more. Isn't that amazing, really? I love doing this. You can sit and just reflect, and the words that pour out of your mouth, they sort of surprise you a little bit. But that's exactly what did happen. Don't get me wrong, when I go out, I can still have a story. I can still have a chat and a drink. But working now, this business is living, breathing thing that takes over. It's the last thing before bed. It's the first thing in the morning. I'm dreaming about opportunities coming down the line. And I know Claire's the same. Me and her have conversations and we catch ourselves and go, whoa, can you imagine us having this conversation last year? We have sacrificed everything about who we were. Everything that was self-identifiable. Wow. And I'm really glad that I did. Knowing what I know now, would I have done anything differently? Yes. I would have plugged into my mindset earlier. That's the thing. It's funny because every time I do an Ask Me Anything, this question always comes up, and I think my answer's been different every single time. The biggest thing holding me back, continually holding me back, even now, there's an element. I mean, not so much. I'm much more confident now than I was, say, 6 months ago. But I think if I'd have just plugged into my brain sooner, I would have been wiser to opportunities that I took that probably wasted my time and probably held me back, because I'm so grateful that someone could offer me something so lovely. Yes, I'll have it. And then in hindsight, that one wasn't necessarily for me, and it doesn't really align with my values. I wish I had this strength of character earlier on, and that probably would have meant going to therapy a lot sooner. Finding a manifestation coach like Lydia a bit sooner. Doing more for my mindset. Because the stronger you are, the stronger willed you are, you can see opportunities that come down the line regardless of their stature or their weight or the person that's offering them to you. You don't have to say, that guy's awesome, I'm going to take everything that he says. No. Whatever opportunity comes down the line, take it, look at it objectively, think about the things that align with you, and then decide. Question number 2, has there ever been a moment when you considered quitting, and what made you decide to keep going? You know what? No. There were certainly days, and there have been days, and there will be days where it will be, oh, I can't be bothered anymore, I'm having a day off, I'm stopping. For my own well-being. Fell asleep on the sofa about 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and I didn't feel sorry for it. So no, quitting was never an option. It never was. And there has been certain pressures from certain people telling me that quitting was probably the wisest move. I can hand on heart say my family have been ridiculously supportive, but I am the only one in my family that has ever now gone out and done a business like this on their own, ever. And when I say my family, I don't just mean my brothers and my mum and dad. I mean my wider family, and I've got a big family. It's an out of the ordinary kind of business that I found myself in, isn't it? Social media, creating communities, TikTok shop, Amazon FBA. It's not a usual thing. But We never quit. Anyone that ever put any pressure on there, Claire and I would come away and go, we're going to prove it. We're going to show them. And that's kind of how we've gone about it. Question: do you believe it's more important to give practical step-by-step advice or to inspire someone to find their own path? Wow, what a question. What a question. Personally, and I think this answer is going to come up a little bit, what I've learned is that no two people are the same. I mean, yes, you can categorize certain people with certain characteristics, but learning styles are utterly unique for a person. Someone could come to me and say, Des, I want to learn TikTok shop. And we'll show them the nuts and bolts of how TikTok shop will work. But the vast majority want me to motivate them. Because let's be honest, the internet has got all of the information you would ever need. Every single business opportunity that I took, I could have learned it for free. I learned Amazon FBA for free to start with, before I went on to more like advanced models and pay for education, which I thoroughly recommend, by the way. Free information on YouTube is enough to get anyone going on any model, and it depends on your inherent sense of self-motivation, doesn't it? And I know when you listen to the people that I interview and the stories that we tell, a lot of them did it off their own back, learned off their own back, figured something out themselves. However, you buy a mentor program, you buy into a community, you buy a course, not because of the information it holds, but from the person providing that information. That's what you do. It's a coach, it's a mentor, it's someone that can hold you accountable. It's someone that you can look up to and say, I want to do what that guy does. It's someone that can impart knowledge in a way that will inspire you and also make sense to you. So I'm glad that I'm that person for a lot of people. And I think it all comes down to the fact that I am a normal guy. I have got normal guy responsibilities, normal guy pressures, but I've made it work despite those things. And I'm willing to show you exactly what it was. It's not all I ask, but one of the things that I do ask is, if you're going to expect to achieve the things that we have achieved, you're going to have to work as hard. It's as simple as that. And it never fails to surprise me when somebody is surprised that it's hard work. I can't say enough. You're going to be working your hardest and your longest for the smallest amount of money. And it still surprises some people when they go, hang on a minute, why haven't I made a few £100 on TikTok shop? I've been in your community for a month now. Come on. That's not how it works. And the irony is, you know that's not how it works, but you've been caught out because once again, we are fed information so much from every source, whether it's social media or the news or the newspapers or the print media or the internet media. Everything tells you, oh yeah, it's easy. That guy is an overnight success. No such thing. No such thing. I'm a 2-year overnight success. And I'm one of the quick ones. And it comes down to that. You're going to have to realize that a sacrifice is made for a long amount of time and you will build it up. The internet is no different to the streets. If you're setting up a shop on the street, you're setting up a business on the street. It takes you 3 years to break even in that world. Now, the internet can significantly shorten that, but not within a 3-month window. Come on. You do have to put your big boy and your big girl pants on if you're going to make this work. And it's so important because if you're not aware of that early on, you're going to crash and burn. How many people have I seen come and go? And I can speak on behalf of Luke and Jack that I work with and other people that have built communities. In the first few weeks, it's all sunshine and lollipops. You're learning a new model, you're learning a new process, you're throwing yourself into this community where everyone's very nice and very generous with their time. And you think, yeah, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And then months 2 and months 3 kick in. And the reality hits that sourcing is drying up, that posting 3-4 posts a day on TikTok and no one's watching and no one's buying, that's starting to kick in more. And people quit. They decide, oh, it's a scam, it's not working, and it's a fixed mindset, even though all I do is bang on about this growth mindset. So to the person that asked this question, do I believe it's more important to inspire someone to find their own path? Yes, that. But I implore them to be realistic about what can be achieved. Next question. How do you guide someone who is hesitant to take action despite knowing what they need to do? Well, we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there. All I can do is relate my own experiences, not just in business, but in life. because everybody's been through a scenario where they know what the right thing is to do. Like me, look, I'm about 20 pound overweight. I know what the right thing to do is, but I just don't do it. So if I had a personal trainer, well, I did. Jamie, bless his heart, he was my personal trainer, and he understood when I would have another bad week because of work. How are you getting on with your diet? Oh, I've had another bad week. I know what I need to do, but I was hesitant about doing the right things. And it's no different with this. All I can do is carry on banging that drum. This is the sacrifice. These are the habits. This is the action. So when I talk about the right action, the right mindset, it needs to be embedded in you. Levels of resilience that you aren't even aware that you've got. You need to have that drawn out of you. And the people that are hesitant to make it happen, I'm sorry, it won't without action. Now, when you see something like the community that I've built on Facebook with Amazon sellers, or the community that we built in school with TikTok affiliates, people are seeing results. And there are other people that are saying, well, why haven't I got those results? Now, I must say, when it comes to TikTok, it's not about the level of activity on certain people. Sometimes it's just a roll of the dice. But only you know in yourself, have you been working as hard as you should have done? Can you say hand on heart that you've done the same things that that person's done? Is there something that person's done where they've acted on it that you think, you know what, maybe I need to do that with myself? Because one of the things that I'm so proud of, especially in these last 3-4 months, when it comes to the TikTok shop stuff, people are determined when they join, I want to go faceless. I don't want to put my face on camera. Or even beforehand, when I was talking about diversifying income streams from Amazon and building a social media profile. Oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to put my face on camera. Can I do it all faceless? Yeah, of course you can. Faceless works for plenty of people. We've got our own faceless channels on certain things. But face on is significantly better for your chances for success in anything. Building a social media profile. No better way to diversify your income stream than building a social media profile, and it's free. On TikTok Shop, no better way to sell a product than putting your face on camera. No way. No better way. But if you aren't willing to put your face on camera, I need you to ask why. If it's your job and if you don't want to get in trouble, that's completely different. But if it isn't, and it's a confidence issue, before you do anything in your business, you need to have a look at that. A bit like what I said at the start of the show, that first question. One of the first things you need to do is ask yourself, why don't I want to put my face on camera? Is it a confidence issue? And if it is a confidence issue, what can I do to address that confidence issue? What other self-limiting beliefs have I put in place that is affecting my confidence enough that I don't want to put my face on camera? What is it that these people that put their face on camera are doing that I'm unwilling to do myself? And I would implore you to do that work first and then come back and see if you're up for the challenge. Because you might find out things about yourself that need addressing and that you have buried deep. What we do in everything that I'm a part of as a leader, coach, mentor, trainer, mod, whatever you want to call me, geezer, what I want to do is have that issue addressed. Now, what's been really, really nice over the last few months is that I've been banging on about this and people have listened and people have gone out of their comfort zone and started putting their face on things. And some of the messages I get thanking me for helping them with their confidence, it's overwhelming because building the business is not just about building your money. It's about building you as a person. When I talk about my confidence, I want the same for you. And it's achievable. But in order to do it, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. And you've got to realise that nobody cares what you're doing. Nobody cares. Literally walk down Brighton Beach with a phone, talking at myself, saying, look, I'm on Brighton Beach and no one cares. And no one cared. It's an internal thing that's holding you back. Because here's the beauty. When your business becomes successful, so do you. People are looking at you. They're not looking at whatever TikToks you're creating or whatever Amazon sales you're making. They want to know about you as a person. So you need to be prepared to put yourself out there because we're dealing with e-commerce. We're dealing with the internet. We're dealing with social media. The key word there is social. You'll be expected to be the front and center of your business. That's just how it goes because the opportunities will come to you. It's a growth across the board, and it's really exciting. What advice would I give to other entrepreneurs struggling to balance the demands of business and parenthood? Yeah. The advice I would give, number one, is plan your time. Me and my wife sit down on a Sunday and we plan the week by the hour. Everyone knows where everyone is. Everyone knows where everyone is going to be. And we all know how much time we're going to spend with each other, with kids, blah, 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 blah. I don't work weekends as much as I can help it. It will just be voice notes and messages on the communities that I'm in, here, there, and everywhere. But I don't really work at weekends anymore, especially Sundays. I don't put anything in the diary for Sundays. Now I'm in charge of my own availability. If I'm sending a link out for someone to have in contact with me, you'll notice there aren't many opportunities out there because I get to pick the hours that I want to be in any particular place. When you get started, you do need to prepare that you're going to be working your hardest and your longest for the littlest amount of time. You see the patterns that are coming through here. So you are going to sacrifice your time. But you need to remind yourself, tell everybody, look, this will be worth it. This will be worth it. I will spend more time with you than I ever have. And it will be better because we'll have nicer things too. We're feeling it now. Over 2 years into our business, I've said it before, I do every single school run. Well, me or Claire, we've got 4 kids in 4 different schools, so we tend to split. But every single school run. There's not many parents that can say that. We got half term coming up. I'm not working much. I'm going to do about 10 hours in the week. That's nothing, is it? So I can spend half term with them. Same goes for Christmas. I went to see a concert. I think I told you about it. I went to see a concert and we stayed overnight in London. It took me ages to realise, you know what, I don't have to take Tuesday off work because it's my work. So you really are going to have to suck it up for the first 2 years and then start reassessing how much time you've got. And again, it comes down to choices. It comes down to what is coming down the road. There is an opportunity that my wife and I could explore that could, again, sacrifice our time for a good year. But it will change everything forever. Really interesting. Really interesting. Okay, I've had a bunch of questions about print on demand. How is your print on demand going? This one hurts. I've knocked it on the head. I've had to. And it's not because of Printify. I want to say as well, the support that Printify gave me was unbelievable. I just kept on finding issue after issue with Etsy. And I don't know how indicative this is of a wider model, but for me, I couldn't get on with Etsy. And if you can't get on with Etsy, what's the point? And I found myself having other business models that were making me more money in shorter amounts of time. So we had to sacrifice some. And it's a real shame because I loved working with Printify. They're a really, really great company. Lovely, lovely people, really generous with their time and everything like that. But Etsy suspended me about 4 different times. I then got going with my brother. But again, we found the fees to be savage for the things we were trying to sell. And everything we were doing was rock and roll. Tours that were coming up, we were doing tour dates, we were doing T-shirts and things like that. And it just didn't work out. It's such a shame. We did a lot on Pride. Brighton Pride was around in August. We did a lot on Pride. But again, the things that did sell, we didn't make much profit because the fees were so high. Now, I'm sure there's a way that we could do it differently. Prince would have been a good thing, not Prince. No, that's Michael Jackson. But like this, music Prince, they would have been great. But again, IP issues are rife. You don't want the likeness in there, but you still want someone to associate it with that person. I've no doubt it could work. I will never, ever, ever say, don't do that model, it's scummy. Or even scammy. I'd never do that. I'm not that guy. There's too many successful people. I just didn't have the time to throw at it. Truthfully, that's it. I am confident that if I had the time and the motivation to work harder on it, it would have worked. Hands down. But it just so happened other things came down the track that piqued my interest a bit more. And it's a shame because I know a lot of you were interested in my print on demand journey, but I just didn't necessarily have the motivation to do everything that I wanted to do on it. And that's just the way it goes. I want to know about starting up a podcast. Get in there. This is it. No one talks about starting up a podcast. Why the hell not? It's such a brilliant opportunity. I can't recommend starting a podcast enough. Get it off the ground, get a few of them going, and then what you do is you invite people on people that are levels and levels above you and say, hi, do you want to come onto my podcast and tell me your story? Everyone loves to tell their story. Most importantly, everyone loves to hear their story. Like I was saying earlier, it's not about your business, it's about you as a person. So if you see a successful business, reach out to who the owner is and listen to their story, because their stories are fascinating. Then what you're doing is you're also getting one-to-one coaching from somebody that is miles above you in terms of status. Then what you're doing is also building a relationship with them where there's give and take, because it's your show and they've got all of the information that you need to become a success. And there's a relationship that you can leverage, and round and round and round it goes. Please start a podcast. There are so few podcasts out there. There is a gap, a massive gap for people to get going in this space. I love it. Couldn't recommend it enough. So tips that I've got to get going, just get going. Look, I did it with an iPhone and one of those clip-on cantilever microphones. That's it. Do it as an audio only, and you don't have to worry about your mug or anything like that, or your setup. And what I did eventually was build things up and put it out there as a YouTube, but still nothing important. I did it as on my camera on my computer, so the quality was grainy. It took me ages to get this good camera where everything's in beautiful high definition. I want to go down a road where I'm interviewing people face to face, and in order to do that, I do need to significantly upgrade. I saw the CEO cast guys. They got lights and cameras, sound decks, really good stuff, lovely sofas. I know Chris Hill's going to start a podcast soon for the Lifestyle Entrepreneur. Great setup, studio for people to go into. What I'd love is to have my own studio, preferably in my garden, and people can come over and I can have a cup of tea and actually do a proper podcast. Failing that, what I'm doing more and more, like I did with Robin Waite and with Rob Moore, is find a podcast studio. And I'm looking to do that. I've got people in Brighton, business people, entrepreneurs in Brighton that I want to interview very soon. So I'm going to start hiring a podcast studio in Brighton. If anyone runs a podcast studio, can you hit me up, please? But yeah, other than that, you can just get going. There's plenty of software out there. Alitu is one that I really recommend, and I'm not an affiliate. ALITU. You can build episodes on that, upload audio files. It will run your whole thing through like a car wash and come out sounding quite professional. And then there's an RSS feed on there, so it distributes it to all the podcast platforms. I love it. Yeah, keep in touch, because there's definitely more can be done on podcasts. I would love to know, based on your journey so far, which elements have you found the most challenging when you started compared to now? Love it. It was time management. Time management was really important, because it's always the things you don't enjoy that you procrastinate on the most. But it's usually those things that are the most important, isn't it? Like admin, emails, outreach. I mean, what good's a social media channel if you're not outreaching and asking for brands? Because that's easy money from a social media creator. And it's the same with Amazon, keeping on top of prep, which I'm sure you guys all know, keeping on top of my tracker, my inventory tracker. And at the same point, I was making YouTubes and TikToks, building the Facebook community, and then the podcast started, and then there was relationships that I was building out, opportunities that were coming down that I wanted to invest time in but not being able to. Print on demand's a perfect example. So that was hands down the most challenging. So what you do is you find the tasks you enjoy the least and you outsource them. So as my money grew, first thing we did was outsource the prep. Steve's my prep guy. Outsourced a lot of the admin. I got a video editor in. Even though I enjoy the editing, it still took far too much time. And it was something that I knew I needed to outsource to start using my time better. So I got an editor in. Before too long, I had a social media manager. We've had some changes, and now my social media manager, Sophie, I think I talked about her a couple of weeks ago, out of this world, makes my life so much easier. You need to employ people that will make your life easier. So now I've got an editor, I've got a social media manager, we've got our prep outsourced, we've got an accountant, rather than uploading our bookkeeping all of us ourselves. Loads of little things like that. And I'm finding now that I still need help with things that, one, I'm not good enough at, and two, keep me focused. So I'm in the market for a mentor, which will be figured out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Because now it's kind of, I know now what's working. I'm in this mindset now where I can see opportunities here, there, and everywhere, which is incredible. You know that bit at the end when of the Matrix when Neo gets shot and those bullets fall out, and all of a sudden everyone's like a green dot. That's kind but we go out now, and I said to my wife, I went to a christening last night, yesterday afternoon, and I said to my wife that's happening over there. We could make money by doing that, and that. And funny enough, my best mate is also an entrepreneur, and we were talking about I might be hiring a cleaner, and he's gone, oh, why don't we start a cleaning company? Blah 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 blah. And you think, yeah, wow, so many opportunities on everything. We're in proper problem solving mode. So now that's in place, it's lovely because we've got time and we've got money we can throw at these things from the ones that we choose. The ability to see that a year ago would have been a lovely thing. And at about a year ago, I had so many people saying to me, you're going to make it. It's just a matter of time. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to make it. And I remember me and Claire used to go, it doesn't bleeding feel like it. It doesn't. And I wish people would stop being so optimistic, because we don't know what we're going to do. How are we going to make it? What's it going to look like? We didn't know. But again, law of attraction, put your faith in the universe. Everyone else thinks it. You should be thinking it too. And now looking back, of course we were. Everything was happening. Too many good things were happening. Fascinating now. And I'm going to put this out there. This was never my intention. But by 50 years old, I'm expecting us to be 7 figures profit. Balls, I'm going to say it. By the time I'm 50, I'm expecting to be a millionaire. And it's going to work. It is going to work. And I never intended this. But when you're seeing these opportunities and money's building up and building up and building up, you can see it coming. It's just a case now of figuring out which ones to take and not fall over as I do them. Because I don't want to be stressy. I'm loving this life at the moment. I want to carry on loving it and carry on working on and making the money that I believe I'm going to make. Yeah, really interesting. Okay, question. You're doing a number of different things, including RA and OA, print on demand, private label, and now TikTok. You also have the podcast and YouTube. It's interesting to hear others say the riches are in the niches. I like that. But you're casting the net quite wide, which makes sense to reduce the risk should one stop working for you. How are you managing that? Yeah, and I think that's another thing. I always used to say, didn't I? It wasn't a case of me spinning the plates. It was a case of finding out which plates would break and which ones wouldn't. And there have been things that fell by the wayside. The print on demand thing just wasn't able to give that the time that we wanted to. The private label thing, I've had 3 products in development now that I'm the one that's paused it because I can't give it the time and the money that it deserves to launch. And we're probably looking at it again in the new year. I do believe that private label is hands down the safest Amazon model, but also it's not for everyone. You do need a lot of money. And I know the person who asked this question completely understands that too. So I would say you have to allocate time to different tasks. Today, for example, I knew I was going to give a good hour to the podcast. Then I was going to give an hour to my faceless TikTok channel so we can promote some content. I'm going to put an hour into the school community. We've got the call tonight that will last an hour. I've just arranged for a guest speaker on the Facebook group for Amazon. And at the same time, I'm learning new sourcing methods and all of the education that involves in that. That's still not a full day. You know, I still get to pick up my boy from school today. Still get to sit down and have dinner with people. I've got a guy coming around at 5 o'clock who might be a gardener for us. Because again, we're talking about sacrifices. We're at a place now where we can hire a cleaner, hire a gardener. So it takes pressure off us as a family so we can put more money into the business. All that sort of stuff. It's a tricky one. And all you can do is take it day by day again, because if you think about it too much, it is overwhelming. We plan our weeks. And then once our weeks are planned, we plan our days. And then once days are planned, we plan our hours, you see. And then every quarter we sit down, we reflect on the quarter that's gone. We've got the quarter that's coming up. And we're gearing up already for 2025. Question, which business model has the most longevity? And which do you enjoy the most? You know what? I enjoy all of them. Because in all of the ones that I've done, all of the ones that I've found, there's an element of coaching. in it, and I believe that coaching is the thing that drives me. Changing people's lives, helping people make money online. People say to me now, what do you do for a living? I help people make money online. What a lovely thing to say. And that's what my purpose is. I saw a live from Simon Squibb about 18 months ago. He was sitting in his hot tub and he said, right, everyone, close your eyes and start thinking about what it is that drives you. What is your purpose? And I knew at that stage my purpose was to help people. But at the same point, you put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. You may have heard me say that before. Warren, the FBA product sourcer, who was on the podcast last week, and he said it to me. And I said, that's funny that you said that, because that's something that I say all the time as well. But it's so true. You have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help others. I can't help other people get rich if I'm not rich. I can't. And it's lovely because I always want to be the guy that's 1 or 2 steps ahead of people, so I can show them what's coming down the track. And what's really, really nice, and I don't know why, I found this throughout my whole career. I have always been the guy that if I can't have the answer, I will find someone that can give you the answer. I've always been that sort of person, and I found myself doing that already. Look at this TikTok community. If I haven't got the answer, we've got Gus and Ron and Chris and Jen behind us as trainers, successful affiliates that have been in the game for a year that can answer your questions. And if they can't, we've got Tick Market and we've got Stacey and Jack behind us as well. Loads of things like that, loads of these little networks here, there and everywhere. If someone wants to sell OA in Germany, I know Sylvia is someone I can reach out to, who I can put in contact with somebody if they're struggling. If somebody wants to do private label in North America, I've got Jason, who I know will help. It's a lovely thing that they have this network. Confidence, manifestation issues, we've got Lydia. I love all of it. But when it comes to which model has the most longevity, Amazon and TikTok, they're not going anywhere. We're just at the start of this digital age. TikTok especially, because social commerce is becoming a thing. Adverts in the traditional sense that we grew up in the 80s and 90s, they're not a thing anymore. As soon as they invented the button that says you can fast forward adverts, that was a selling point. And everyone was all over it. So now how do they get adverts out? How do brands get their products to you in the most organic way? Social media. And a platform like TikTok that's scrolling, a post comes up. And it's not even addressed as an advert apart from a tiny little thing in the bottom. That's going to be the future. And what we're so proud of doing on this is that we are ahead of the curve. We have got an agency that is fastest growing, and agencies can't get built in the same way already. We're going to have this army of affiliates that are going to help and help and help and help. And if you get good now, this will set you on your tracks for a good 5 years. And who knows what's coming now in 5 years? Because this digital age, what we do know is that it's inconsistent and it's bleeding volatile and things change so much. But I can't see Amazon going anywhere. No way. Never in a million years. It's too big. There's too much money. They can see risks coming down the track. There's no surprise that they've signed up with TikTok. How that will work long term, I don't know. If it will work long term, I don't know. But Amazon haven't got a social media platform. So it's a different buying model straight away. For example, you go onto Amazon, you know what you're buying. You want a Stanley Cup? You go onto Amazon and you type in Stanley Cup. On TikTok, though, you're scrolling because you want to see what Donald Trump's up to, and all of a sudden a Stanley Cup pops on your feed. And you think, you know what? I need one of those because that will fit in my cup holder. Impulse. Amazon can't do that. TikTok can. You see the difference in the two? Both are completely viable. And both have got too much money. But on top of that, you've got things like Temu and AliExpress and Walmart. And who knows what other stores are coming down the line. This is just a model. But if you learn online retail has been the oldest business model. Trading centuries ago. Trading isn't going anywhere. So if you can find some sort of viable e-commerce retail model or advertising, which underpins a retail model, none of them are going anywhere. This is my favourite question. Have a look at my profile and help me niche my content. That's not even a question. Never mind, moving on. If you could only choose one online business for the next 5 years, which would you choose and why? Oh, brutal. It would be... Oh, this is tough. You could ask me today and I'd say Amazon. You could ask me tomorrow and I'd say TikTok. Today, right now, TikTok. That suits me. That aligns with me. I'm the guy that talks out loud. So, of course, it'd be a social media channel, wouldn't it? That's exactly what happens. You need to find the model that suits you, not necessarily the model that will make the most money in the shortest amount of time. Because who cares if you could make 20 grand in the next 6 months, but you crash and burn and that's that, gone. You need something long term. You need something that you can align to. What is it you enjoy doing? Where do your strengths lie? Where are your weaknesses? What can you see yourself working on for years and years and years and years? And then get going on that. Because again, what I'm doing is retail. It's just a different platform and a different variation of it. And then there's coaching involved on both, which is the thing that I enjoy. And then there's podcasting, where I get to talk out loud. That's a bit of me. So it's a cop-out. Right now, I'd say TikTok, but there is no way I'm giving up Amazon. No way. And there's no way I'm giving up this podcast either. So let's just run all three. At what level of monthly income from your business did you decide to leave your employment? Great question. I'm not going to go into the details because it's all personal finances when we're starting talking about this. However, what's really, really important is that we had our business plan. And I see an awful lot of people fall down at one of the earlier hurdles because they don't plan it out. When you say, I want to scale up, what does scaling up look like to you? How much money do you need to consider yourself successful? See it? One of the first things we did when we sat down and went, right, are we looking to leave our jobs? Because not everybody's looking to leave their jobs. Initially, we weren't. We just had the challenge. But then you think, you know what? When you lay out the challenge and how much we're meant to be making, is 30% growth, is that, and that. Within this period, we should be bringing in anywhere between £8,000 and £12,000 a month. Consistently, without any nasty surprises. So what you need to do for your business plan is think, right, how much am I currently earning? How much on top of that money would I need to live a really nice life? And then, how long would it take for me to earn that money? And then, start thinking about your expenses. Right, I've got that much money, but am I paying wages? Am I paying a cleaner and a gardener? How much tax is going out there? What bits of software am I paying for to implement that? What education am I paying for to implement that? So you're going to need more than that. And then think to yourself, right, if I earned that money, if I then quit my job and started taking that amount out every month, how would that affect the growth of the business? Plan it. All right. And I've literally just said all that off the top of my head. That's not me going away and researching it, because those are the logical steps. Have I got enough to pay the mortgage? Have I got enough to pay the bills? Have I got enough for a few days out a month with the kids, with my wife? Have I got enough to have a few beers? And have I got enough for the cash flow from my business to keep rolling over? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Once you've done that, then you can start thinking about leaving your job. But so many people rush into leaving their job because it's a thing. Yeah, I'm going to quit my job. Woohoo! No, don't do that. Your job is quite rightly your safety blanket. Because it doesn't just pay you for working, it also pays you for being sick, also pays you for a pension, also pays you for going on holiday. I've lost all of that. So start thinking long term, plan it out, and you do what's right for you. But don't jump yet. Even when people complain about not being answered straight away to something they could have Googled. Is this something you have to continuously keep in check as your journey grows? I could sit here and say, oh no, it's lovely when people do that. But no, of course it's frustrating. On all of the communities that I've built, I've gone out of my way to record enough digital content before it's gone live so people can go away and learn at their own pace. But when we get questions when the answer is so clearly, that's covered in the videos. That's covered in the videos. Yes, it can be frustrating. But at the same point, I understand that everybody learns in different ways. And I also understand that people's availability might be different, or they are learning at a speed where they think, you know what, I need to know the answer to that, and that before I can even reach earlier levels. It's fine. It's fine. People are paying me for my time. So however they want my time, that's completely fine. Well, hang on, within reason. But if, for example, someone's part of our TikTok community and they're paying £40 a month, they're entitled to ask whatever it is they want to ask. Now, the problem lies in the fact that Facebook, school, any internet community, everybody's got 24-hour access to that platform. But there's a clear distinction, and as much as I wish it could be true, I don't have a 24-hour access to me. I can only give the time that I've got available. So while there are various reasons why it's completely fine to ask whatever you want to ask, I will implore you, look, if it is out there, if it is Googleable, if it is in the classroom that you're already paying for, just have a look. And it might save everybody a bit of time. Because also, if you ask me a question and I don't get back to you in a few hours, that's when resentment grows, you know what I mean? And it's not worth it. Des and Luke, you are both now amongst experienced TikTok sellers and taken on multiple challenges to ensure you help others. Has this momentum seen a dynamic change in the way that you now work together? Yeah, this is the beauty. Luke and I never actually worked together. We were just pals who worked in a similar field, and we would bounce off each other and lean on each other for when we needed it. It was always nice. Again, it's a myth to say that everyone who sells on Amazon sells a course. There's actually a fairly small handful of us, and the network of people in the people that you're closest to, that's even smaller. So Luke and I, we had this relationship anyway. It was all fine. And then we went up and met Jack, and the three of us came up with this plan. So I'm not just working with Luke for the first time, I'm working with Jack for the first time. And we're still figuring it out, you know. It's going to be years before we actually settle into a place where everyone knows how everyone works and everyone is happy with everything. It's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, we have seen a dynamic change. But it's great. Same with everything. Same with every relationship anyone's ever had ever. Communication, transparency, trust. Those three things. Me, Luke, and Jack, we got it. We got it. We all trust each other. We all know everyone's got each other's back. We all know that if someone goes missing, there's a genuine reason for it. You know, it's totally fine. But it's lovely to see us all move through these cycles together. Question: how are you adapting to life as an entrepreneur? What do your days look like? Are you finding it easy to balance work and life? And are you driving Claire mad yet? I was driving her mad long before this business. Don't worry about that. So our days vary. Like at half the time we've got 4 kids. The other half of the time we've got 2. 2 days a week, Olivia's being looked after, our youngest. So on a Monday, she's being looked after, so we know we can get our head down and we can really work. On a Wednesday, we know we can do the same, really work. But we also know that on Wednesday afternoons and Thursday afternoons, there's a big school run because 2 of the kids are a good half hour, 35 minutes away. So the school run takes a long time. We plan it all in there. Now, like we talked about, sacrifices mean the house isn't as clean as we'd like it to be. Because when you've got 4 kids, the dirty washing takes enough of your time up. And then other than that, we're just trying to find hours to work. So it's tough. It's tough. So we're outsourcing things. But again, these are nice problems. These are nice. We realise how lucky we are. So it's not the worst thing in the world. We're really good. And again, we choose it. We choose it. It's really nice. Sometimes I can drop one of the kids off at school and then stop at the seafront, walk along the road, film some content. I can go for a coffee, and with this lovely little microphone down here, the outside noise isn't a big deal, and I can sit down and make a couple of posts. It's really nice. We're really grateful. What's next for the future? Are you adding any new strings to your bow, or have you got other secret businesses up your sleeve? This is a podcast. If it's a secret business, I won't be sharing it on here. But we have got things in the pipeline. Yeah, this is the thing, right? When you're networking and when you're working with other business owners, especially people that have been at a higher level than me for so long that I'm now sort of stepping up and meeting. Every time you have a chat with someone, another opportunity opens up. It's unbelievable. And you can really understand why a lot of these people just say, yeah, let's have a phone call. Let's have a phone call. Because something happens in that phone call, invariably, where you think, you know what, I can work with you on that. Now, nothing that I'm going to share, obviously, because otherwise we could be talking, and then it all comes to nothing and it would have been a waste of time. But here we are, late October. I'm really enjoying everything at the moment. And I won't be making any moves until 2025. I'm just going to enjoy this routine. For the first time in ages, I've settled down. And things are ticking on behind in the background. And I can dip in and add my value and not drive myself mad. I think that's the best note we end it on, you know. Listen, thank you so much for those questions. I hope that gave you value. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like I need a cup of tea. Next week, let's go. Next week, Rob Moore. The Rob Moore episodes drop next week. If you don't know who Rob Moore is, number 1, have a word with yourself. Number 2, Google him. This is a banger. absolute banger. We'll just leave that. Have a lovely week. I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the 200 to £100,000 Challenge podcast. Make sure you join us next time for more real talk and some undoubtedly terrible jokes as Des gets ever more closer to saying goodbye poor, hello rich.